Good afternoon. Welcome, incredible friends. I'm coming to you today with a quick tutorial on how to make this really cute Easter card. And of course, you don't have to say Easter. You could change the sentiment up. It could be Happy Spring. It could be just a note, hello friend, anything like that. So I want to show you this card real quick. It is featuring the Flying Home stamp set. It's got all these wonderful images. I hope you can see all those. And we're going to be using this one today, the mama bird and her babies. And this set is found in the Occasions Catalog, the 2018 Occasions Catalog, which you can purchase, I believe, through May 31st. I'll double check the date, but I'm pretty positive it's May 31st. I'm going to go ahead and bump the camera down and we'll get on this card tutorial. And just bear with me a moment. I'm kind of getting used to a new camera and a new setup here. So, okay. So I have gone ahead and cut out some of the pieces, the cardstock that we're going to be using today. We're going to be using Bermuda Bay, and this is cut at 5.5 by 7 3/4, and we're going to score it on each end at 1 3/4. So actually, before I go any further, let me get some of this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you have your Stampin' Trimmer, it has a scoring blade and a cutting blade. The cutting blade is the darker one, and the scoring blade is the lighter one. And we're going to use the scoring blade. So again, we're going to score this at 1 3/4 inch on this end, and then we're going to turn it around and do the same on this other end. Okay, so we're done with the trimmer. We're going to put that away, and now I have a bone folder. I can just take and fold at that line, make sure your edges are even, and just go ahead and give it a good crease right here. That'll just help it lay flat, and we'll do that again before the card is completely finalized. But like I said, we'll just go ahead and run your bone folder over it to give it a good crease. I'll put that away. Now, very quickly, you have I've already cut two pieces of the designer series paper. This is from the Bubble and Fizz, which is you can actually earn this for free right now with a $50 purchase. Prior to taxes and shipping, and for every $50 you spend, you get to pick a free item from the Celebration catalog. That goes only through March 31st, so you have only a couple more weeks to get this paper, and I can show you the stack in a minute, but that's from the Bubble and Fizz designer series paper. And I have 2 strips of Daffodil Delight, and I am going to adhere these onto these panels. So we'll just have our designer paper here. We'll put our snail on the back of it. And then I'm going to adhere this, centering it. I'm just eyeballing it, but you just center it on all 4 sides the best that you can. I got a little extra adhesive there, I think. And then we'll do the same with this piece. We're just gonna put a couple bits of snail on here and adhere this panel to the other Daffodil Delight piece. Again, centering it, and hopefully my head's not getting in the way of the camera. And then we're going to then adhere this panel onto the card flaps. And again, you're just going to center it on all sides. And we'll do the same with this one. And you'll see how quick this card comes together. Super cute, very springy. I love the colors. So again, we'll just kind of center everything here. All right, so see, you've already got a good chunk of your card done. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, I have a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, and the stamp, I've already mounted the stamp, and I'm going to stamp this in the Memento Tuxedo Black ink today. because I'm going to be using the Stampin' Blends, and because the blends have, it's an alcohol-based marker, and to use like the basic black, it would sometimes smear. So whenever you're going to be using your Stampin' Blends, you want to use this Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm just going to stamp my image. I'm just going to let the ink soak into the paper for a moment, so I'm just holding it straight here. Then I'm going to lift straight up. So you see we have this nice crisp image of the birds and her baby. So we're done with the ink. So I'm going to just put that up, and I'm going to put the stamp away to the side as well. Now, this is where some of the fun comes in. Now these are the Stampin' Blends, and these are also in the Occasions Catalog. And today I'm using an assortment. You can buy these individual. There's a light and a dark color for each color. There's a light and a dark. And you can buy them individually, or you can buy them as a set. So this is the Crumb Cake. And this is the Old Olive, light and dark. This is the Pool Party, light and dark, or the combo set again. Bermuda Bay, light and dark. And then the Daffodil Delight. Now I do have both colors, the light and dark of the Daffodil Delight, but today I'm just using the darker one for the beaks. So I am going to start. This is a good tutorial too for the Stampin' Blends. I'm going to start with the Crumb Cake, and each marker has two sides, two ends. And there's a, let's see, this one's the brush end, and there's a fine tip end. And there's two ways to tell this. One, you can see on this image that the brush is thicker and fuller there than on this one. And also there's a line on each end of the marker. The thin line is the fine line side, and the thicker line is the brush side. So there's a couple of ways for you to tell which end of the marker you want to use. For me, I'm going to start out actually with the lighter color, this because I had the darker. This is the light. The lids are a little bit different shades. I hope you can see that in the camera, but I think it also says it on here, like dark Crumb Cake. This one says light Crumb Cake, so it is printed on here. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the light. And with this nest, since it's kind of some of the branches are kind of sticking out of the actual nest, so I'm just going to kind of start out first by outlining kind of the edge here. And I can get a little OCD about this, not wanting to color outside the lines. But once I get my outline done, you'll see I can kind of then go back and fill in with the fuller tip of the brush. And if you love to color, this is a really fun thing to do. The bird's nest here kind of blends in with some of the branches of this tree too, so you really can't go wrong in your coloring. I'm just gonna go ahead and color in the branch of this tree as well. And you know, you can just play around whatever feels comfortable for you. I like having a little more control, so I tend to use when I'm doing something that's, I mean, this isn't teeny tiny by any means, but when it's a smaller area to color, I tend to use the smaller brush side first. But since I have the outline of all of that done, I'll go back and use the brush for the center, and you'll see like how it's just so smooth, so easy to color. You don't have the line marks with these alcohol markers that you would with other markers, or sometimes even with crayons, colored color pencils. Sometimes you see marks. You don't have that with these alcohol markers. So I've done all of that in the light. Now I'm just going to come back in with the darker one, and I am going to again just kind of where these lines are, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of run my marker over those lines in the image, and this will just give it some dimension, just different, a little more color. I don't know if you're going to really be able to see this as well on camera. I'll hold it up when I'm done so you get a better feel for it, but it really, in person for sure, you can see it and it makes a difference. It just gives it that little bit of, and you can even, you know, just like a natural branches are going to be different shades. They're not going to be consistent throughout. And if you wanted to outline this whole top, you could do that too. But that's good enough for now, I think. So, and again, with these markers, they have a, you don't want air getting to them, so the caps do fit on tightly. And make sure when you're putting the cap back on, it does have these 3 little dots, which help grip for both on and off. But you want to make sure that you push down until you hear that click. Okay, so now for the leaves, I'm going to go for the Old Olive. And since these leaves, they're small, but they're chunkier, so I'm going to go ahead and color these in with, I'm starting out again with the light, and this is, if I didn't already say it, this is the Old Olive color. So I'm going to color in all my leaves here. And thank you for being patient with my coloring. And I don't always color and talk well at the same time, but I appreciate your patience. So you guys probably color faster than I do, so this card would come together really quick. But and if you wanted to make a bunch of these, you could just sit down and do all your stamping. Just sit down in front of the TV one night in front of your favorite show and color away while you're watching. All right, so that's all my leaves. And then I'm going to come in with the dark one, and I'm just going to highlight the leaves. Whoops, this end almost came off too. The leaves have, some of the leaves have this little line down the center. I'm just going to come in, and where those lines are, just run the darker marker over that. And I can even create some in here if I wanted to. Okay, so that's good. Now, for the bird, I am going to start out with the light pool party, and the baby birds, I'm gonna just color all of them in. And then, and with these alcohol markers too, you can run over them, like you color it once, you can go back over it again and it will darken up. But you also have the darker color. So you have a lot of control over the shading and the color that you want. So again, for now, I'm just coloring this whole mama bird in soft sky. Okay, now the babies are fine the way they are, but the mama bird, she's going to be a little bit darker toned than the babies. So I'm going to come in and just put another layer. I'm using the brush layer just to get better coverage. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little more on her. Then what I did with this one, with the mama bird, I used Bermuda Bay. I believe this is the light one, so we'll try it. If it's not dark enough, we can, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine. And then I just went ahead and outlined these feathers, and I kind of colored in this little middle section here. And then I outlined her feathers. And again, this is using the fine tipped point. And then if you wanted to give her a little bit of shadow, her chest and at the top of her head. And if you're not sure about, if you're feeling like that looks too dark, then you can come back in with your light, your pool party light, and you can just color back over all of it, and it'll kind of blend it. It takes a few moments. You don't necessarily notice it right away, but when you color back over it, it just takes some of that color and blends it out. And when it dries, it'll look much more natural. So I actually think I want to make my baby birds a little bit darker because they're really, really light. Just a little bit darker here. And actually I could outline them too instead of just coloring all of them. Yeah, I think I like that better. Giving them there's like a little bit of blue in the center. And then lastly, I'm going to color their beaks. And the beak is, I'm using the dark Daffodil Delight. And his little beaks, aren't they cute? I don't know where you are. Where I am living, we've kind of been toying between spring and winter. It snowed yesterday and it's all melted today, but it snowed. So there you have it. Cute. Look at all the mama and her birds. So then I take my 2-inch punch, circle punch, and you're gonna end up cutting off some of the image, but that's okay. You wanna center it so that you get, of course, the mother bird and her babies. And that's your main focal point. So make sure you get all of that into the circle and then just punch. And so you see how you get just a little bit left over, but that's okay. We don't need that. So then I have this piece of Bermuda Bay. It is cut at 2 by 2 3/4. And then I have my tag topper punch. And so you can take your tag topper, push the cardstock all the way to the back, punch, and then we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Punch, and we'll lock that down. Then I'll get rid of my trash here for the moment, just put that off to the side. So then you have this little tag, and what we're going to do is adhere it on the 2-inch circle onto the back of this tag. So just put a little snail down there, and I'm going to try to center this so that it's in the center of that tag. And then I forgot to get my dimensionals out, so I'll get that. I'm going to use a dimensional, actually I'm going to put probably 2. Now here's the thing, when you're putting these dimensionals on, you only want them on the top part of your tag or the bottom. Actually, I goofed up on this first card and put them on the bottom. So it doesn't matter. You could do top or bottom, but I recommend the top and the top half of the tag, because you'll see when we go to remove the backing here, we're going to attach this tag onto the panel, but you want this tag to kind of overlap both of these flaps. So if I kind of just place it where I want it, and then I hope I got that straight. It's a little crooked, I think, but you get the gist. All right, so, and that way, now, if this bothers you, seeing this in the back, you could punch out another 2-inch circle out of the Whisper White and adhere that to the back of the tag before you put the dimensionals on it. This doesn't bother me. People aren't really gonna notice that. So again, you're almost completely done with your card. I do go ahead again and take the bone folder. In time, this will start to lay more flat, but that's pretty good now. And then I already have my sentiment here, and I'm going to show you, in this case, there's a couple of ways if you don't have a banner punch to do this. And I'm going to take my Stampin' Up snips here, and I'm actually just going to eyeball this. I'm going to go ahead and I think cut off just a straight piece. So to do your banners, if you've never done this before, you can just take and cut straight down the middle, and then you cut from one corner to the center, and then from the other corner to the center. And I'm doing this fast, so I may not have it. I hope it's not too cattywampus. And then you do the same on the other side. Now I'm gonna shorten this up a bit, I think. And hopefully I didn't cut off too much there. Again, you just cut in the center. Then from the center, from the corner to the center, and then from this corner to the center. That piece. And then for this particular piece, I am just going to use another tiny bit of snail adhesive. And all the dimensions, measurements, and all that will be on the blog post as well. So you don't have to worry about, you know, keeping track of all this. It'll all be written out for you. Whoop. So then there you have it. You see the Happy Easter. And like I said, you could do Happy Birthday, you could do Hello, you could do Happy Spring, anything, really. Anything will work. And stay tuned, because coming up, I believe early next week, there will be a separate blog post on what to do if you ever want a sentiment and you don't have it, or you want a different font, or anything like that, and you want it to match your cardstock as well. I will show you a tip and trick for kind of a workaround if you don't have the right stamp or the right sentiment, and how to get the colors. So stay tuned for that on Monday. That'll be a tip that can go along with this video as well. So let me flip the camera back up here. I hope you enjoyed that. And remember, again, we are in the middle of the celebration period, which lasts through March 31st. You can get a free item for $50. There's a catalog of selections that you can choose from. And if you spend $100 or more, you can even get either two $50 items, or there are a selection of $100 items that you can choose from, if that makes sense. I might not have worded that very well, but yeah, so be sure to check that out. Again, the Occasions Catalog, which is where this Flying Home stamp set comes from, that is good through May. And the Stampin' Blends are also in the Occasions Catalog. And I'd love to see your card. So feel free to copy this as it is, or change it up a bit, share it in your comments, let me know what you think. And you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.